feel like there should be a Albuquerque. Yeah, you know, and like the little things that are done.
So you're still there?
Well, I've got my office down here now.
Yeah.
That's my remote office down here. Finally come down. I know. You're doing it. Not the best timing, but. Well, that's what we figured. Kindergarten, like,
How long?
just last summer.
Oh, just recently. So what school do you go to?
My older one's at rental house. No, we'll stay in Salem, but at
Like a downtown school. And then when it went away, Yes, exactly.
Good morning. If you're still coming in, come on in. Find yourself a seat that looks good. If you've chosen a seat that looks good now and the beautiful sun starts coming through our stained glass windows and your entire world goes purple, please know that you are free to move at any time. Get up, find a spot that works for you. Please be comfortable and feel welcome in this space. We are gathering this morning here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. I am the Reverend Monica Jacobson. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve this congregation as minister. I am grateful you have chosen to be here, to gather in the sanctuary, to join us online, to be part of co-creating this community once again. Leading worship with me today are Sarah Pickett as our celebrant. Our Time for All Ages story will be told by Carrie Lynn Patterson. Ariana Kirkpatrick is our Lifeline's lay minister. Brenna Norval is joining us to offer a special reflection. Our UUCS choir is singing today under the direction of Grace Curran and with Lori Ann Schmidt on piano. And because this is a Star Trek Sunday, they have star headbands. Please join me in appreciating the bling. Jeff Minden is back at the tech table, and Doc Hadley made our slides. Every week, it takes many hands to make our worship services. Just as we know it takes many perspectives, many ideas, many ways of being to create this community where we welcome and celebrate our diversity and our differences. You are welcome here this morning exactly as you are, with whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, in all the ways you understand and express your identities, and in all the ways you are still becoming the person you will be. The gift of your true presence and your becoming is part of what makes this community so special. So now, let us take a good deep breath together. Feel the air come in and fill your body. Feel it go out. Know that you are here in this gathering. You're not anywhere else. So that means whatever nonsense is unfolding on the news. It means whatever dishes are sitting in your sink waiting to be washed. Whatever is happening in your email, and let's be honest, there's always something happening on email these days. It will all wait so that you can be present here, to ground, to center, to share this time. Come, let us worship. Please rise in body, in voice, or in spirit to join in singing our gathering hymn. It's number 309. You can find it in the gray hymnal if you'd like paper music in front of you, or it will be on the slides, and our choir will lead us.
What of the age To quote a Klingon, Kolos, from the series Enterprise, episode Judgment. From the time of Kalis, our courts have stood as a forum where justice is dispensed with honor. As we say our affirmation together, let us take in how these words can help us live lives of honor. Our affirmation words are in your order of service, and they are printed above. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world. In the Vulcan culture and meditation, the light of a candle helps to ground an overactive, chaotic mind to logical order and helps to steady their deep and strong emotions. The act of lighting a candle can also symbolize the connection with their past, including their ancestors, focusing on the best qualities of a person. So too, when we light our candles each week, we connect to each other in this community through the lighting of the first chalice. We connect to the historical ancestors of Unitarianism as well as current Unitarians in Siemensfalva, Transylvania, through the lighting of our partner church chalice. And with the lighting of the third chalice, we focus on the best qualities of our children as they make their way in the world. Please join me in singing the flames into life.
Yeah, try again.
There we go.
Hi, good morning. Children can come down and anybody I didn't, oh, can you hear me? Sorry.
There we go.
Hi, if all the children could come down in front, I'm going to read a book, and any adults, we'd love to have you in the front row and join us. Oh, right. We have one taker so far.
Kids, you are allowed to bring your grown-ups with you. You can all come down front if you want.
Today we are exploring how curiosity can be a bridge to a more exciting world. When we ask questions, imagine possibilities, and explore new ideas, the world becomes bigger and more interesting. Today we're reading Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Who's heard Harold and the Purple Crayon before? By a show of hands. Okay.
1955. There wasn't any... One evening, after thinking it over for some time, Harold decided to go for a walk in the moonlight. There wasn't any moon, and Harold needed a moon for a walk in the moonlight, and he needed something to walk on. He made a long, straight path so he wouldn't get lost, and he set off on his walk, taking his big purple crayon with him. But he didn't seem to be getting anywhere on the long, straight path. So he left the path for a short cut across a field, and the moon went with him. The shortcut led right to where Harold thought a forest ought to be. He didn't want to get lost in the woods, so he made a very small forest with just one tree in it. It turned out to be an apple tree. The apples would be very tasty, Harold thought, when they got red. So he put a frightened dragon under the tree to guard the apples. It was a terribly frightening dragon. It even frightened Harold. He backed away. His hand holding the purple crayon shook. Suddenly, he realized what was happening. But by then, Harold was over his head in an ocean. He came up thinking fast, and in no time, he was climbing aboard a trim little boat. He quickly set sail, and the moon sailed along with him. After he had sailed long enough, Harold made land without much trouble. He stepped ashore on the beach, wondering where he was. The sandy beach reminded Harold of picnics, and the thought of picnics made him hungry. So he laid out a nice, simple picnic lunch. There was nothing but pie, but there were all 9 kinds of pie that Harold liked best. When Harold finished his picnic, there was quite a lot left. He hated to see so much delicious pie go to waste. So Harold left a very hungry moose and a deserving porcupine to finish it up. And off he went, looking for a hill to climb to see where he was. Harold knew that higher up he went, the farther he could see. So he decided to make the hill into a mountain. If he went high enough, he thought he could see the window of his bedroom. He was tired and he felt he ought to be getting to bed. He hoped he could see his bedroom window from the top of the mountain. But as he looked down over the other side, he slipped, and there wasn't any other side of the mountain. He was falling in thin air. But luckily, he kept his wires and his purple crayon. He made a balloon and he grabbed onto it. And he made a basket under the balloon big enough to stand in. He had a fine view from the balloon, but he couldn't see his window. He couldn't even see a house. So he made a house with windows, and he landed the balloon on the grass in the front yard. None of the windows was his window. He tried to think where his window ought to be. He made some more windows. He made a big building full of windows. He made lots of buildings full of windows. He made a whole city full of windows. But none of the windows was his window. He couldn't think where it might be. He decided to ask a policeman. The policeman pointed the way. Harold was going anyway, but Harold thanked him. And he walked along with the moon, wishing he was in his room and in bed. Then, suddenly, Harold remembered. He remembered where his bedroom window was, when there was a moon. It was always right around the moon. And then Harold made his bed. He got in it and he drew up the covers. The purple crayon dropped on the floor and Harold dropped off to sleep. Isn't that a good book? Now, if you guys would make the love arch, we'll head back to the RE.
Wherever you go, go in love. Wherever
Justice through the eyes of Star Trek captains. This view of justice will be in chronological order based on when the show aired and not in chronological order of the Star Trek universe. We start off with Captain James T. Kirk, the original, who always seemed to present himself as someone who felt, I am right. I must be right. This was likely a combination of how the character was written, the era in the US when the show aired, and the actor himself. However, if you Google Kirk and justice, you do get this quote. A machine has none rights. A man must. My client has the right to face his accuser, and if you do not grant him that right, you have brought us down to the level of the machine. It is interesting, of course, that they were saying that a machine has less rights than a person because several years later, in Next Generation, it is favorably argued that, in fact, Data, a machine, does have the same rights as a human. This brings us to Captain Jean-Luc Picard in The Next Generation, who has many good quotes, including, sometimes you do everything right and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. Also, there can be no justice when laws are absolute. Even life itself is an exercise in exception. So the idea that one can look at justice from more than one angle is starting to emerge. Then we get to Deep Space Nine, in which the entire series, you might say, was looking at the gray areas of justice. Spiritual justice, justice after war, and how does one repair relations with former enemies? To quote Commander Sisko, I said I'd stop the Maquis, think paramilitary resistance group, and I have. But I will not kill a good man for defending his home. And then there was Voyager, where the first female captain is center stage. Captain Catherine Janeway, who states, you can use logic to justify just about anything. That is its power and its flaw. And we watch her and her crew get from the Delta Quadrant back home to Earth, all the while trying not to lose their principles and to maintain justice in their actions. Then we circle backwards in time, when Enterprise and Captain Jonathan Archer, with his homespun advice of don't kick a man when he is down, as well as stronger statements such as, for thousands of years, my people had similar problems. We fought 3 world wars that almost destroyed us. A few courageous people began to realize they could make a difference. Many years later, we get to Discovery, the timeline of which I won't try to explain here. However, the heroine, who does become captain, Michael Burnham, does make a strong statement about justice and overcoming fear when she states, no, we will not take shortcuts on the path to righteousness. No, we will not break the rules that protect us from our basest instincts. No, we will not allow desperation to destroy moral authority. From Discovery, we get at the moment 2 shows. The first, Strange New Worlds, looks at Captain Christopher Pike before the accident. The main thing Captain Pike learns is that life sometimes isn't fair. So you try to accept what is happening now. Trying to offer the world your gifts you have now. All the while knowing that one day your presence will be gone, and that is okay. The second show is Starfleet Academy, but it is the Academy way in the future, where Starfleet has barely survived and is just coming back to being hopeful for what may come. Here we see Captain, Chancellor, Teacher Nala Aki, someone who has been around for hundreds of years and sees patterns through time that soften her, while at the same time her resilience grows. She is trying to do the best she can, that perfection doesn't exist, that mistakes will be made, and that she has to live with the results. And yet, she also maintains hope in people. Justice in Star Trek has changed through the years, as the ability for characters to self-reflect and own their mistakes as well as their achievements has grown over the years. May we follow their example, making a more just world as much as we can, knowing that our way is one of 1,000 that may be correct.
Good morning. I'm Ariane and Kirkpatrick, one of our Lifeline's lay ministers. Lifeline's lay ministers are members of UUCS who are here to help people in times of need and joy. We can be identified by our lavender stoles and badges. You can reach out to us by visiting the Lifeline's table in Hanneman Hall each Sunday after the service, or by using the contact information in the order of service. Each week when we gather for worship, we share the joys and sorrows of members of this community. We know that joys shared are often magnified as we celebrate together, and sorrows shared may be lightened as we are reminded that we are not alone. As I read them, we'll light a candle to symbolize the truth that is shared and to remind us that what we hold together brings more light of understanding and compassion to us all. Today I have one joy and one sorrow written in the book. This is a concern from Lorianne Schmidt, a former student and a lifelong family friend, has been put into hospice care at the young age of 23 due to an extremely rare condition. It seems so unfair that the world only had her in it such a short time. May her family find comfort and peace. And we have one joy from Greg. Today, I am in joyful anticipation of Margaret Gregg's return from Victoria, BC, where she has been visiting with her dying sister, while her brother-in-law is in Denmark saying goodbye to his 90-year-old sister. Joy in sad times. And we light one final candle. That candle is for all the joys that are held in our hearts and all the sorrows that are left unspoken. Thank you.
Holding all that we have heard, holding all that we know is present in our lives, holding the fact that on this Star Trek Sunday, we are really going for it with the Star Trek references. I invite you to join me in a special centering practice. Star Trek and other strands of speculative or science fiction are often based in practices of wonder and of awe. Looking to the sky, connecting with the same spirit with which many people throughout human history gazed out at the sea, whether they were European naval officers, Polynesian wayfinders, or many others. This connects us to these movements within us of curiosity, of awe, of wonder. And these are sustaining spiritual practices. They root us in an orientation to life that assumes that more is possible that we simply don't know about yet. That the world, as we know it, still has secrets and magic to reveal. So if you're willing, please join me in a guided meditation. Get yourself comfortable, maybe both feet flat. If you'd like to close your eyes, you're welcome to do so. If you'd like to let your gaze go soft and unfocused, you're welcome. Get yourself grounded in your chair and bring to mind a view with a vast horizon. This might be gazing up at a night sky filled with stars. It might be looking out over the ocean. In this view, you may recognize some aspects of it. Perhaps you are spotting constellations that you know in the night sky. Perhaps you are catching the spouts of whales far out in the ocean. Notice how it feels to hold and imagine this grand vista and a few special points in it. Continuing to picture your vista, night sky or rolling ocean, let your attention move to what you do not know about it. Are there planets or islands out there, far away, with stories of their own that you might learn someday? What mysteries await you? What tiny, intricate truths might be in this vista? Maybe the inner workings of microbes, or the fusion in the hearts of stars. And what immensity of life can you imagine? Creatures so much greater in size, so different. Alien life, or a whale popping up to peer over the edge of a boat. If you feel the movements of curiosity, of awe, of wonder, hold on to them. Notice how they feel in you. And as you begin to bring your awareness back into this room, tuck that feeling of awe and wonder into your pocket, imbue it into your bones. Know that as often as you like, you can bring it back to mind. Moved by the stars, by the sea, by the tiny perfections and the great questions, by the possibilities of all we do not yet know. May we know awe and wonder. May it be so. And while you remain seated, I invite you to join in singing a hymn about types of awe and wonder close to home. This is a traditional British folk song about gazing even at the most mundane things in wonder. It's number 94. You can find it in the gray hymnal, or it will be up here on the slides.
And
astra per aspera, to the stars through hardship. Okay, I'll admit it, I'm a Trekkie. And I can say that there are several, if not more, in this room. In a Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode entitled Ad Astra per Aspera, a Starfleet officer is facing court-martial for hiding who she is. She is of a species that Starfleet by law is not allowed to serve in the Federation. In her court-martial hearing, her lawyer makes a great speech. Slavery was once legal, apartheid was legal, discrimination against people for how they worshiped, how they loved, their gender, the color of their skin, all legal at one time or another. But a law does not make something just. Our first, second, third, and sixth principles agree with that lawyer. And luckily, so did the court in the end. The inherent worth and dignity of every person means to me that no one should have to hide who they are or who they love. That is what the lawyer was talking about. They're in a TV show that was talking about the future, but was so relevant to things people have to live up with today. I have several friends that this statement means everything to. They have indeed had to overcome hardships to reach their stars. And it isn't fair that sometimes they hide who they really are and to hope for acceptance. Right there on Star Trek. Do you think the lawyer was a UU? Our 7 principles are what drew me to become a UU and to see those same ideas played out weekly in a sci-fi TV show has both influenced how I interact with people as well as encouraged me to be a better person and uphold the platinum rule. Treat others how they would like to be treated. No one should have to face hardships to reach the stars, their potential. But when they work through those hardships, they have truly gone where no one has gone before. Ad astra per aspera.
Thank you, Brenna. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, choir. Thank you for all who are bringing these threads for this Star Trek Sunday. I learned in preparing for the service, by the way, that there's a lot of Star Trek I haven't seen yet, so I have a watch list now in order to catch up to where others are. If you too are discovering you are a little behind, fear not, you are not alone. When we gather as Unitarian Universalists, one of our practices is to be inspired by sacred texts everywhere. So Star Trek is a sacred text, a source of wisdom, just as much as the great teachings of the religions of the world, just as much as poetry and science and nature and art. We find wisdom and inspiration for our living everywhere. I am one of those people who grew up watching Star Trek. It was a regular part of my life by the time I was probably 7 or 8 years old. My parents and my brother and I watched episodes and movies at home. And my best friend's parents were also Star Trek fans. So when I was at her home on Friday night, there was still Star Trek on the TV. Now, this was the late 80s and early 90s, so it was Star Trek The Next Generation that I grew up with, not the original series that some grew up with. I watched those later. And in watching them and continuing to grow with some of the series, I was inspired by messages of curiosity. Recently, I read a book which I did not expect to connect to this service at all. It's for my library book club. It's titled The Wide, Wide Sea by Hampton Sides. It is a book about the final voyage of the British Navy captain James Cook, whose long voyages to parts of the world far away from and mostly unknown to 18th century British people made him incredibly famous in his own lifetime. He departed from Great Britain, and his ships went on to map coastlines and make port in faraway places, including Hawaii and Alaska and Aotearoa, which you may know as New Zealand, and the land now called Australia. He and his crews went out there for years and years, and Cook described in his journals his aspiration to go not only farther than any man had been before me, but as far as I think it is possible for man to go. The author of the book then asserts, as many people know, the character of Captain James Kirk is based on Captain James Cook of the Royal Navy, which I had never heard before. But it colored my reading of the book as I began to notice points in favor of this connection. Cook does seem to have tried to observe his own protocols of first contact, of respect, of curiosity, of preserving indigenous names for places when he made maps. They weren't quite Star Trek's teaching about a prime directive where you do not interfere with the development of others through imposition of your ideas or technology or simple carelessness, but from the journals that Cook and his crew kept and from histories passed down among the descendants of those they met. It does seem that when they made first or second contact between people from Europe and people in other parts of the world, Cook did offer more respect to those he met than many other European explorers of the time did. This did not prevent problems and conflicts and tragedies. But from this history, I see this jumping off point that enters into the evolving stream of stories told in Star Trek about how to explore, how to learn about others in ways that hopefully grow more skillful, more just over time. It's a good question. What would it be like if one group of intelligent beings went out to learn more about the universe and encountered others? What would happen? What is it like to meet others without shared context or culture and have to figure out who you all are? And what if the beings with whom we travel in this story do start out with a prime directive that when you meet others, you should not interfere, you should avoid at least some of the harmful impacts of European exploration in the Pacific Ocean. You should not reveal technologies that others don't have and aren't ready to incorporate. And you definitely shouldn't pass the word back to others that here is some territory that could be exploited. On Star Trek, this means don't tell other people who haven't invented it yet that you can travel faster than light and beam yourself up and down with transporters. And also, don't impose your ideas about how to solve problems or what the right way to be together is. Meet each other from a posture of curiosity, not one of judgment or superiority or exploitation. This posture, this curiosity and respectful meeting is what I think is one of the moral teachings of Star Trek, imperfect as it often is. And like most moral philosophies, it gets explored over and over again through looking at ways it goes not quite right when the situation is gray and murky. In the immortal words of the TV creator Mike Schur's show, The Good Place, this is why everyone hates moral philosophers. But it does make for good storytelling, and it does help us tease out the nuances of how we might navigate all the unusual situations of life. But Star Trek is not only a series of morally complicated thought experiments dressed up as 1-hour episodes of TV. It is also a form of vision casting, of imagining the world as it could be. The first series, which was pitched in 1964 during the Cold War between the United States and Russia, during a time of incredible social tension and conflict in the United States about full rights and inclusion for Black Americans, just to name two of the issues of the time, this original pitch featured among its bridge officers a Russian man and a Black woman who served alongside a Japanese man, an alien who is half Vulcan and half human, played, by the way, by an actor who was the son of Jewish immigrants from Ukraine. This vision, all these people together, working as a team, caring about each other, enjoying each other's company, respecting each other's skills. Simply to see these people together solving problems was part of casting a vision for the future at a time when that vision seemed as far away as the stars. The author, activist, and midwife Adrienne Marie Brown, who is herself the mixed-race child of a white mother and a Black father, remembers growing up watching Star Trek. She says it was her dad, a Black man who was the Trekkie. It was difficult to be a mixed-race family in South Carolina, and her father said, "We're watching Star Trek. That's the future. Let's go there." And Whoopi Goldberg, who would go on to have a wide-ranging career and act in many roles, including a recurring character on Star Trek: The Next Generation, remembered turning on the original series at 9 years old, seeing Nichelle Nichols playing Lieutenant Uhura, the Black female communications officer on the bridge crew, and yelling, "Come here, Mom, everybody, come quick. There's a Black lady on television and she ain't no maid." Goldberg says, "I knew right then and there that I could be anything I wanted to be." This power of vision casting, of showing us the world even as it is not yet among us, but could be. This opening up of curiosity and awe and possibility, and being pulled towards something by wonder and by hope. This is part of what Star Trek and other speculative or visionary fictions can offer. Adrienne Marie Brown talks not only about what visionary fiction has meant for her life personally, but also about the fact that it helps us ground ourselves and our justice work. In interviews, she has said, "I want to shout out my friend, Walida Imarisha, who named visionary fiction." And a quick sidebar, Dr. Imarisha teaches at Portland State University. I kind of want to ask her if she would ever come speak here. And Brown says, having edited an anthology with Dr. Imarisha, having worked together with her, she says, in that process, I realized it is the work of radical imagination to explore how to live together better. And I also realized that we are living inside of imaginations that other people told us were true, ways that other people imagined that the world is. She cites her friend Terry Marshall, who she says was the first person to tell me, "We are in an imagination battle." She says, "It blew my mind. I think about it often. We live in this abundant world, but we've been told to imagine it as scarce. And because of that scarcity, we've been told to imagine that we have to fight each other constantly. We live in a world where actually there is no reason to create hierarchies of superiority based on what we're born into, whether it is the color of our skin, our sexuality, our gender, or any of that. But," she says, "someone has imagined superiority. And someone has imagined it into a structure that now we all imagine we're supposed to live inside. We imagine these constructs we have to live in. We get very committed to these constructs. And then, she says, our imaginations get limited because we think to ourselves, ugh, that's an impossible dream. It matters that our imaginations of how the world can be, how we can be together, how we can live, are not limited by these boxes and constraints that have been imagined by those who would seek to keep people separate from each other, scared. It matters that our imaginations of how the world can be do not accept artificial ideas of scarcity that require us to simply accept the ideas about suffering and that we have to fight each other for scraps and allow the destruction of ecosystems and lives. We do not have to accept that construction of the world. Star Trek went ahead and posited a future where war no longer occurred among humans, where poverty had been eradicated, where money lost its meaning because everyone had everything they needed and could pursue the work and the learning and the service most meaningful to them. Now that, I think, is a vision worth casting. And finally, I want to tell you that my favorite Star Trek series that I've seen so far is probably the one that I watched as a teenager, the first one to feature a woman captain, Star Trek Voyager. Catherine Janeway, who starts out as a scientist who just wants to know more about how the universe works, becomes a leader and winds up captaining a ship that has been thrown across the galaxy into uncharted territory and faces decades of journeying to get home. And oh, by the way, she has to create a new crew for the ship because she's lost half her crew and she's taking in the crew of a ship of outlaws that she was sent out there to arrest. And from these two groups, she needs to create one cohesive community of people who can work together. People who are able to commit to shared ethical and moral standards of their behavior and not just say, anything goes. We're too far away from anyone back home to ever know what we did. Also, she is a coffee fiend, so she's highly relatable. When I was a young adult and I was supervising teams of people for the first time, I would think to myself, what would Captain Janeway do? How would she get these people to understand their shared mission? What would it look like to lead with integrity? It's a lot easier to do that on a college campus than it is on a starship 50,000 light years from home. But I still drew inspiration from getting to imagine myself being a bit like her. So this too is a part of the value of imagining these possibilities that show us who and how we can be and what we can do. It is impossible to know if the coming years are going to literally bring us here on Earth in this timeline. On April 5th, 2063, the launch of a warp-capable ship from Bozeman, Montana. Don't know. But it's worth imagining what might be coming, not only from the restrictions imagined by others, but from the abundance, from the justice, from the thriving, from the wonder and awe that we can envision together. So, let us keep imagining what could take us to the stars and what could help us to thrive here. May it be so. Somebody said, make it so. That makes me really happy. Who said that? Yeah, make it so.
The gifts to this community that we offer weekly include time, presence, and yes, money. Money to keep the building going, pay our staff, all of which helps to nurture our individual spirits, as well as the feeling of being interdependent and supported in this community, as well as connected to the larger community of Salem. We do this through supporting the Marion Pope Food Share, where donations may be placed in the little red wagon that is coming up the aisle. And for the month of May, the organization that aligns with UU principles and values is Salem Harvest. Salem Harvest is a nonprofit organization that connects farmers and backyard growers with volunteer pickers to harvest fruits and vegetables that would otherwise go to waste. Salem Harvest has as its principal purpose the distribution of food without charge to children and the homeless, unemployed, elderly, or low-income individuals. If you wish to donate, you may visit our website to do so, and if you are in person and are donating and the bags are being passed, please remember that if you are also liking to donate to your pledge, to either write on your check that that's what you're doing, as well as the year, or if you want to place cash in an envelope, I think I can talk, be sure to say pledge and your name and the year as well, because the fiscal year of 2025-26 is ending, and in July, the fiscal year of 26-27 will begin again. Now, if you're comfortable, please raise your right hand like this and repeat after me. May we all live long and prosper. Make it so.
Please join with me in saying our words for giving thanks. They are up here and they are printed in your order of service. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our many gifts, including these offerings.
Reverend Monica takes the light of our chalice and ignites the flame of justice, social justice, a practice that we carry into our daily life. And as the flames of our chalices are released, let us hold on to this advice from Captain Janeway for living a good life. It's never easy, but if we turn our backs on our principles, we stop being human.
A couple announcements. First off, thank you to Mako Hayashi Mayfield for bringing these flowers up here. Second, some heads up for things that are coming. In 2 weeks, May 31st, will be our Community Sunday, where we will honor milestones in the lives of our children, celebrate volunteers, and have a potluck afterwards. And a potluck only works if folks are willing and able to bring things to share. Please bring an ingredient list so everyone can know what food is right for them. We're going to get cake and gluten-free vegan cupcakes. So dessert is probably covered, although, I don't know, use your best judgment. Maybe more dessert's better. But please do know bringing food to share in 2 weeks will help us have a vibrant potluck for everyone. Also, coming up in June, we have both a men's retreat and a women's retreat. The men's retreat is for anyone who identifies as a man, women's retreat for anyone who identifies as a woman. Men's retreat will be June 12th through 14th, and the women's retreat the following weekend, June 19th through 21st. I know that today during coffee hour, there will be an information session about the women's retreat. I don't know if there's going to be something similar for the men's retreat, or if you are best off taking a look in the newsletter to figure out who to contact about that. And on June 14th, we hope the men will return from their retreat just in time for this congregation's annual meeting following the service on Sunday, June 14th. This is when we gather to do the business of the congregation. Our way of organizing is democratic, so we gather to vote to elect people to the board and to other key offices, to adopt a budget, and to do any other business we need to do. So if you are a voting member of the congregation, please plan to be there. If you're not a voting member of the congregation, you are still welcome to come and see how it all works. That is coming up on June 14th. There's plenty of other things going on, so you'll find some of them on the back of your order of service, including a variety of things happening today, this afternoon. You are welcome to whatever is right for you. Thank you for being here today. And now, please rise in body, in voice, or in spirit for our closing hymn, number 324. Again, it's in the gray hymnal if you'd like that, and up here on the slides.
My own light illuminate.
And if you'd like, touch your elbows or shoulders, or simply raise your hand up and join me in saying our closing words. There we go. May
May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.